What's going on, everyone? Scott here from the Breakevens, giving you another AFL Supercoach video today, the final one of preseason, because tonight round one starts. It's kicking off. We're excited. All the stuff that we've spoken about in preseason, it all comes down to this. How exciting! Today we have my final team review or reveal, I guess. Now this is as of Wednesday night. Things may have changed today or last minute. Make sure you go check out my Twitter because all changes will be on there and I will post my team just before the bounce. So to do so, you can find me on X at Breakevens Pod, or you can find me on Facebook, the Breakevens. It'll be posted there. If you are yet to do so, join the Breakevens Supercoach League. You can do so by using code 266136. Once again, that is code 266136. So without further ado, let's get into my team. Actually, just quickly, sorry. Yesterday, I did a video with Dano from the Supercoach Co-Captains podcast. Make sure you go check that out, give it a like, and subscribe to the channel. And click on the links in the description because those guys do great stuff. So you like and follow them as well. Now, with that all done and dusted and out of the way, I will get my a blank team up and we'll go through it. So here we go. All right, so here we've got a blank slate. And as always, we will start with the defenders. So nothing has changed here. We have Harry Sheezel. I've spoken about him a few times, one with SDS Supercoach, where he's going to be the number one defender this season. He's going to go around 116 to 120. Absolute lock. He doesn't have an early bye. Playing majority midfield, he's going to push forward and probably impact the scoreboard a little bit more. It's just a simple pick for me, so I'm not going to harp on him a little bit too much. Now at D2, I have thought about a Lockie Whitfield or a Dane Zorko. Whitfield, just because start him early, he's going to be a very consistent scorer. And Zorko, with Brisbane not having that early bye, I think he could do really well. I've decided not to go for any of those guys. Whitfield because of that bye. And Zorko, a little bit of uncertainty when Coleman comes back, how much that's going to affect him. So I'm going to wait and see on that one. I'm actually going Jordan Clark, who's someone, if you've been keeping up with all of the content this preseason, someone who I'm super big on. I think he's going to score really well. And I think the tides are changing a little bit at Freo, and I think they use him a little bit more rather than Luke Ryan. Luke Ryan's still going to get his touches. I just think there's a little bit of scope there for Clark to go a little bit higher than last season. So he's straight in, and he's been in basically the whole time. This is where things get crazy because these guys have not been in my side either at all this preseason, or they were and then they got snubbed and they're back. So at D3, I'm prepared to get hurt one more time. I'm going Jaden Short. Now, I've said multiple times he's on the never again list. I'm not doing it. I've been sucked in again. Uze's come out and said Richmond going to play that slow build up from defense, which just screams Jaden Short, just using his foot skills, getting him the ball. He might see some kickouts. I wouldn't be relying on kickouts with Short. I think that's more of a Nick Vlostian type of role, but he's going to be part of so much of their build up that he could go absolutely nuts. He's underpriced because he's averaged at an 89. So Jaden Short is in, and I know it's probably going to hurt, but I'm taking a lot of risks this season. So Jaden Short at D3. D4 is Matt Roberts. I started with him very early in pre-season. He was in my first team, and then I sort of did a deep dive into him and with his player profile, and was sort of like McInerney out, helped boost his score last season, and I thought he was going to he was always going to improve, but not by a whole lot. And I think that has changed because Sydney seemed to be putting Jake Lloyd up the ground onto the wing, which opens up Roberts. And he scored 124, as you can see there, in opening round. And that was without really being noticeable. I spoke to a few other content creators during the game and after the game, and basically we felt like we didn't see him, but he still pumped out a massive score, especially early. That first quarter, I felt like I only saw him once or twice, but he had 30 super coach. So he's going to score very well at a cheaper price. So I'm going to lock him in a D4. D5, being a Collingwood man, Harry Perryman comes in. He scored a 93 in the opening round. He's got that mid role locked. He looked electric early on. And when Collingwood were playing well, he was playing well. He was, um, in, in those chains through the middle of the ground, getting the ball down and under and out. Things changed in the second half. He had to play a little bit more halfback just because couple of cramps, slight niggles. So his scoring dropped a little bit because I'm pretty sure he was on like 64 or something at halftime. So quite a second half, but you'd think he goes over 100 quite easily if he plays that full-time mid-roll, if there wasn't those injuries and stuff. So Perryman is in for now. And yes, Sydney and Collingwood share the same buy. I'll go through that towards the end. And now we move on to our rookies. So I'm going 5 deep there. First up is, take caps off, Zach Reid, 119K from the Bombers. He's going to churn out those 65 to 70 scores. He's the most confident rookie in defense that I have to play on field. I just think if he stays fit, his job security is as high as it can be. And a 65 to 70 as a rookie in defense is perfect. So I've got him in there. Next up, I've got Ben Payton from the Swans. I saw enough from him in opening round. A 67 is perfect. He started shaky. Dylan Moore was all over him early, but he worked into the game nicely. It's going to take a couple of weeks for him to really get used to the system in an AFL game scenario. But I think he did enough. And Harry Cunningham is out for the first 4 to 5 weeks. So I think that just cements his spot. If he goes at 60s, it's going to be great for our sides. So I've got him in there. And next, first time being in one of my squads is Luke Trainer, 113 as a defender. All I'm hearing about this guy, he's already been confirmed to debut, which is great. All I'm hearing is this guy is a player. He's going to do so well in that defense for Richmond that possibly you could start him on field, which at 113K, I'll definitely take that. He was scouted to potentially go top 5, but dropped to pick 21 for some reason. Richmond swooped on him. And now we've got him for 113K and looks to be a bit of a savior because Bo Allen is out for round 1 due to illness. And it looks like he's dropped 5 kilos. I was speaking to Dano from Supercoach Co-Captain's podcast, and he said that reporter he's lost a little bit of weight. So Bo Allen is out and Luke Trainer is in, and I'm pretty happy with this defense. I feel like my rookies are going to play, and these guys I'm backing in for big seasons. So that's the defense done. We'll move to the midfield. And here we've seen Bont and Butters. We've seen them there all preseason. But with Brisbane not having the early bye, Lockie Neal comes in, and this is why. We'll go season stats here. Let's have a look at 2025. So, first round against Sydney. Obviously, it's going to be a tougher matchup. But then look at this: West Coast, Geelong, Richmond, Bulldogs, probably with no Bont, Collingwood, St Kilda. Those first 7 rounds, apart from Sydney, there's points there to be had, and then you got Gold Coast, which will be tough, and then you head into North Melbourne and Melbourne, who give away points there. So it's going to be a fiery start. So that's why I'm bringing Lockie Neal in as my M1, and no early buy. It's a bonus. Next, I'm going a little bit cheaper, and this is where this is pure attacking the early buy. So my strategy is I'm attacking early fixtures, and hopefully that works out for me. So it's a bold strategy, but I'm going to commit to it. So I'm bringing in Connor Rosie at 529k. Rumors that he stubbed his toe, that might affect him. From all reports, he's all good to go. There's no butters in there. Rosie is going to fire early, so I've got him in there. Attack those early fixtures with butters out, and then potentially upgrade him after the early buys to a Nick Dacos type player. So Rosie is in at M2. Pardon me. And now we go to Clayton Oliver, 451k. Is looking absolutely great. And I think, he's not a mid-price. He's a fallen primo. We know he can score well, and I think he's going to score very well as well. 62% owned. It's going to hurt you more not having him, in my opinion, because if he fires early, you are way behind the 8 ball. So Oliver in feels like a no-brainer. Next, actually, I could just keep going down the line because we've got Adam Chera. Again, I'm attacking the early fixtures. So let's go here. 2025. Richmond, Hawks, Bulldogs with no Bont, Collingwood, West Coast, North Melbourne, Geelong, Adelaide, St Kilda. Feel like he's going to fire there. He'd go 115. Then he gets into a few harder ones. Sydney, GWS. Essendon could score. West Coast, North Melbourne, Port. And then he has a tougher run home. So he's definitely someone who I'm looking at keeping up to his bye. Maybe around just before round 10, look to upgrade him to a Bont or a Butters potentially. So he's in for now, attacking these early fixtures. And I think Walsh is out for a couple weeks, so there could be some scope to go big very early. I still think he'll score well with Walsh in. And next is Finn Callaghan. If you watch the game on Sunday, he absolutely ripped Collingwood to shreds. I was big on him at the end of last season, very early this season. Go check out my first team reveal. I was huge on this guy. I thought he was going to get bulk CBAs. He had 88% on the weekend. No Tom Green, of course, but I think that doesn't change too much. He was in everything. He was doing the hard stuff. He was getting on the outside, using his really good running ability. He's a smooth mover, great kick. Finn Callaghan is in, and I think he could be someone who could stay. I've booked on him for a breakout very early on, and I'm going to stick with that. Now, obviously, no Will Day. I just think with Will Day, tag early, might hold him a little bit, and I feel like Rosie is hard to pass up with Butters out. So no Will Day in this team. And now we go into the rookies. We'll go over 200K and up we go. So um, there we go. I'm seeing a few people liking the Sam Laylaw pick. I'm not going there at the moment. That might be a correction trade. But it looks he's been confirmed to play round one, which is great. Here it's got the red dot, but he's going to play. Fino Sullivan is someone who I've looked at playing on a wing, but also going on off the halfback, which is where he scored most of his points. He's definitely someone who I want to get into my side if possible. I am going with O'Driscoll though at the moment. I just think job security is there, and he's going to be a very consistent scorer. So I've got him there over O'Sullivan just because I'm just unsure what that role split's going to be. Ed Allen looked great for Collingwood, but I don't think the job security is there once the midfielders come back. But I am going Elijah Sardis, someone who I think is going to go 90s. He looked like an absolute beast in preseason, and I can see that continuing. I think with Parrish coming back when he does, it will affect Sardis a little bit, but I think this is the year for Sardis to make a stamp on the competition. I think he's going to do that. So he's basically locked in there. And then you have to go Levi Ashcroft, in my opinion. Job security, playing up forward where he can impact, and he has shown that he can impact, and then he's going to push up to the contest. No brainer there. And now we move to the bench, and I've got Isaac Kako there for now. I just think that job security is everything in the role he plays, which is that pressure forward. He's going to fluctuate in his scores, so he's going to be a bit of a slower burn. And what I mean is he's going to make cash at a slower rate than you'd say a Sardis or an Ashcroft, who will have more consistent scores. I still think it's a good option. He knows how to get on the end of a goal. So, if he kicks 1 or 2 goals a game, that is ideal. We saw him kick 4 in the practice match. He's not going to kick 4 every week. So we just need him to get a little bit of the ball and impact that scoreboard. So I've got him in there for now. Up next, we're going to scroll down a fair bit here to Lucas Camporelli. Elijah Hollins has stepped away from the club indefinitely just due to some personal reasons. So hopefully, he gets the help that he needs, because as fun and exciting as AFL is, it is very stressful. So we hope him the best. But in saying that, Camporelli has been named to play in round one, dominated on a wing in the practice match, and I think he has a role there to stay. So I'm going to pick him. Hopefully he isn't sub, because if he is sub, then I've got to think of someone else who I want to get, which I think in the meantime would be Murphy Reed. But he has not been confirmed to play yet. Next, we have Hugh Boxall. We're still waiting for him to be named to play round one. I think out of the St Kilda rookies, he's probably most likely to play. What does this say here? So he could be a starting sub candidate, but hopefully Ross Lyon does the right thing and just lets him start the game. He looked really good in the practice matches. And I think at a cheaper option, he could be someone who could just chip away, get those 60 scores. And at the moment with this team, I don't have a whole lot of cash left over. So Boxall is coming in there, but just keep an eye on him. He might be someone who might have to go to a Murphy Reed. Now, we'll go over to the rucks here. I'm starting with Max Gawn. It has been Tristan Cherry this whole time. Max Gawn is coming in because Kieran Briggs is in concussion protocols, which means Max Gawn most likely against GWS will be coming up against Lockie Keefe. Now, if you watch the game on Sunday, Darcy Cameron, when Briggs was in the game in the first quarter, Cameron scored 9 Supercoach points. After that, when Keefe was in the ruck in 3 quarters, he went at over 150 Supercoach points. So Max Gawn, top 2 ruckman in the league, coming up against Lockie Keefe. Jeez. It could be an absolute monster of a score. And then you look here, you've got North against Sherry, but it's Max Gawn who can play well. Got Wits, and then this is when it starts to get a bit easier with Geelong, Essendon, Freo potentially without Sean Darcy, Richmond against Nank, who does give away points, West Coast against Flynn, and then it starts to get harder at around round 9 with Meek, Big O, and then Grundy. So I'm definitely tipping Gawn to go massive in the first 8 rounds. Maybe a little bit lighter in this Gold Coast game and potentially in the North Melbourne game, but it's Max Gawn, so you back him in. And then I've been teasing Toby Nankervis, but I'm attacking the early fixtures. We've got Tom De Koning. Pitnet has been named to be out for the next 4 to 5 weeks, so he's going to miss the first month. So if we look here, where's down here? Richmond, Nank gives up scores. Hawthorn, Bulldogs against English, where he can towel up. Collingwood, West Coast, North Melbourne, Geelong. Those first 7 game weeks, probably apart from Meek, the other 6 could be 130 plus scores from him. So I'm backing him to go absolutely ballistic in these games. And then when things start to get harder and Pitnet comes back, then I'm going to move him on. And potentially who I'm going to move him on to is actually Kieran Briggs. I want to talk a little bit strategy here. So Briggs obviously out for next week, well, this week, and I think the week after. So he misses Melbourne and Hawthorn, which are 2 tough matchups. And he comes in at 516K. But then after that, when he should be fit to come back, he plays West Coast, St Kilda. He's got Adelaide and then the Bulldogs. He could be 400K around here because he's missed those 2. He scored, I think, 9 in the first game. Where is it? Am I insane? I don't know where to find it. Let's go 2025. There you go. He scored 5 points. So that's going to be in his system. So he's going to see a big drop after this Hawthorn game. This St Kilda game. is going to be a big drop. He's going to be 400K by round 7, let's say. So he's got West Coast and St Kilda, and then he drops Cash. Adelaide's a tough matchup, and then he comes up against the Bulldogs. He could be about 450K. Tom DeConning will be over 600K. It's almost guaranteed to be over 600K. Then I can go DeConning down to Briggs when he has a super low break even coming up against, Grundy could be a tough one, but then Geelong, Freo, Carlton, Richmond, Port Adelaide, he makes some cash here. He's back up to 550 plus. And then around the buys, I can move to Tristan Cherry. Sounds like a pretty good strat to me. Very risky, but I'm taking a risk this year. So that is my thoughts on the rucks. And then obviously Harry Boyd there at R3. Marshall has been named to play, but we think he's going to play majority forward. And with Max King out, I think that's even more likely. So Boyd comes in. We move to the forward line. I have Jason Horne-Francis, 63%. You basically need to jump on him. I have floated with having Rankin at F2 as well, but unfortunately I can't afford that. So Horne-Francis is in. It's quite simple, that one. And then we get into Jack McRae, who looks to have a full mid role, severely underpriced at I think an average of 72 there. So absolute must. Only 66%. That needs to be higher in my opinion. I've gone Bailey Smith for now, but that could easily change to Riley Sanders if he isn't named round 1. I just think, he's priced at basically the same. It's probably a 71. I just think the value there is too much to say no to. And there's no one really stopping him from playing that midfield. It's just, can his body hold up? If he does well for the first 2 rounds, he stays. If he re-injures himself or anything, then that's when I can make a change. And that change would be down to Riley Sanders, which should be right here, who should get some elevated mid-minutes with the Bont out, Trelaw out potentially for round 1 and maybe round 2. So he's going to get a big spike there. And all I want from, Sanders, if I do select him, is to make 100K. I want him to go up to around 450, and then I can jump on a primo there if needed, because I don't think he is a keeper with that midfield firing and all fully fit. So I've gone Smith there. Next, at 269K, the biggest no-brainer of them all is Caleb Daniel in 74% of sides. This should be 100% in my opinion. Playing off the halfback, taking kick-ins. It's simple. You need to pick Caleb Daniel. He's priced at a 50 average, basically. He can easily go 100. So he can double that and he'll be 500K in no time. And then the very last mid price is Hugo Garcia, 17% owned, priced at a 45. Looks to have a mid roll this year, and his tackling pressure is absolutely elite. He had the role in the practice match, didn't quite come to see his best, but I think the roles there, he has the potential to score well. At 245K, let me do some mathematics. 245,800 divided by the magic number. So he's priced at a 45, so plus 35 there. He needs to average 80 to make 150K, and I think he does that. 150K, you're looking at 415-ish K there. Perfect. One down, one up. You get an Isaac Rankin. quite simple, and even maybe a Christian Petrarca if he gets forward status. So Hugo Garcia is in, and then we move to the rookies. So I've got Sam Davidson on field, 57% owned. He looked great for the Bulldogs, playing up and down that wing. Got plenty of it, and we know he can impact the scoreboard. I don't think he did in that game, and he still scored like 85 or 83, something like that. So he's an absolute lock, in my opinion. And then I have Elijah Hewitt, who West Coast has come out and said he is available for round one. By the time this comes out, he may be confirmed to play. Not quite sure on that timing. But even if he misses round one, I'm still going to select him just because his role is there. I think he comes back into that side and he has that mid role. So he is going to score well. It's just he needs his body to hold up. He's had a bit of quad soreness, which has stopped him from training a little bit. But I think this guy is the goods. At 122K, if he misses the first week, he's a loophole option for me. If my vice captain goes absolutely nuts, and then he comes back in and makes money for me. So quite simple there. And next is Connor Stone. I really like the look of him in that Giants backline. A few people are a bit iffy if he has that job security. I think he 100% does. Talking to Dano yesterday, they are fully invested on Stone. He did his time as the sub last season. He's got his chance now. He's looking really good off the halfback. He's an amazing kick. He's got a great boot on him, and they're going to look to utilize him as well. He's not going to be the biggest scorer. I think he's going to be around that 60, but 119K, you're not really going to complain, are you? And this leaves us with the flex, got 167K. This is also a no-brainer to me. I'm going Mitch Nevitt at 39%. He's got that role in the Geelong midfield. He's going to get decent CBAs. And yeah, hit that cash as much as possible. He's an absolute lock to play. So he is in there. And that's going to be the team. So we'll just quickly go through. From defense, we've got Sheasel, Clark, Jaden Short, Matt Roberts, Harry Perryman, Zach Reed with Peyton and Trainer on the bench. In the mids, we've got Lockie Neal, Connor Rozee, Clayton Oliver, Adam Chera, Finn Callahan, Nathan O'Driscoll, Elijah Sardis, Levi Ashcroft with Kako, Camporelli, and Hugh Boxall on the bench. Rucks, we got Gorner and DeConning with Harry Boyd on the bench. And then the forwards got Horn Francis, McRae, Baz Smith, Caleb Daniel, Hugo Garcia, Sam Davidson with Hewitt and Stone on the bench, and Nevitt as the flex. Let me save that. So a much riskier team this season. Yes, I'll put my emergencies in. Be quiet. So needy, super coach. You haven't got 4. Well, I do now, so be quiet. So my strategy is very bold, and basically Rozee, Chera, and potentially Callahan as well. They're my stepping stone players. Rozee definitely will be. As I said, I'm going to attack his early fixtures and then move him to a primo after the early buys. And Chera is someone who I think will do well up towards the buys, and then I can move him on there. Neil and Oliver are there to stay, and Callahan, I think, could be someone there to stay as well. DeConning is someone who I'm attacking those fixtures as well. Do I go down to a Briggs if he drops a whole bunch of cash and then make twice the amount and then go to a Cherry around the buys where his fixtures start to get a bit easier? Definitely on the cards, or I can go DeConning straight to Cherry if I need. McRae, Daniel Horn-Francis, you basically lock them in for the whole season. Smith should be a lock if his body stays fit. So Garcia is the one who's going to make cash and will become Isaac Rankin quite quickly. Baz Smith could become Sanders if he's not named early as well. But the rookies, pretty happy. Also, Perryman, he's going to be most likely a stepping stone unless he punches out 105 average consistently. So happy with all the rookies. Kako could be one to miss. Kemperelli and Boxall, we'll have to see what's going there. 17k left over, so not a whole lot of wiggle room, but the structure's there. I'm happy with it, and I can make some changes if I need to. Now, I won't be going with a loophole this season. I'm expecting everyone to play. If Hewitt doesn't play round one, as I said, I can use him as a loop. But with those early buys, you don't really need a loop, because you've got the Essendon and Hawthorn players who are going to have a buy, and then the Sydney Collingwood guys as well. Now, speaking of buys, let's go through. So round 2, GWS and Gold Coast have the buy, and Finn Callaghan is the only one out. So I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, those that are going with no buy players, you're going to have that extra primo, which is fair enough. But Finn Callaghan, I think I can't pass him up. So only the one there, which is good. Round 3, this is going to be the tougher one for me. So Roberts and Perryman both are missing. I've got Trainer to come in for one with Patton out there. So I'll probably be playing, unfortunately, with one score less, but that's part of my strategy. I'm going, pure fixtures early, so I'm trying to maximize points that way. So that could hurt me a little bit. But there's not really anyone else who I want to go around that price tag. Round 4, it's just rookies, which are easily, swapped. Trainer comes in for Reed. Camberley, Boxall, whoever's here comes in for Sardis. So early buys aren't too bad. The round 3 one might hurt me a little bit. Round 12, you got Sheasel, Rosie, Chera, DeConning, Horn-Francis, and Daniel. Out of those, we know Sheasel is going to stay, Horn-Francis and Daniel's going to stay. So really only 3 people out of this buy will be missing, because Rosie will become a different midfielder. Same with Chera and DeConning as well. So he most likely will be Sherry. So maybe that's four players out, which for the round 12 buy is actually pretty good. Round 13, I've got Clark and McRae as the 2 main ones, because Garcia will be someone else, and the rest are rookies. So I'm looking pretty good for round 13. Round 14, this could be, the defense could be an absolute shambles. Perryman should be moved on by then, most likely. Short could be moved on as well. But I think Roberts is the mainstay. But for now, we'll say 3 guys out there, but most likely it's probably maximum of 2. And then everyone else is good to go. So I'm happy there with round 14. Round 15, Gorn and Oliver, the only ones at the moment. Obviously, when I bring people in and start to upgrade these guys, could be a bit more. But my structure at the moment, I'm pretty happy. And round 16, the final buy, Smith, Callaghan, Neil are the main ones. So I feel like my buys, I've spread it out pretty good. Obviously, round three is the tough one. And was it round 13? No, it was round 14. Those are the ones where I think I could struggle a little bit. But if I upgrade um, my team um, smartly, then I should be able to negotiate those quite easily. So that is my team heading into round one. Um, Obviously, things could change last minute, so keep an eye on X and Facebook for that. But that's going to do it for me today, and that concludes the 2025 pre-season. And what a pre-season it's been. 71 videos in, let me get it up, 71 videos in 66 days. I've absolutely torn up this preseason. Hopefully, you have liked all the content, but round one is here. So we're getting into the big stuff. If you've liked what you have seen, give it the video a like and subscribe to the channel. For the first time, I'm not going to say for daily Supercoach content because now we're back to weekly. Every Tuesday night, I will be recording, reviewing each round, giving my thoughts on the rounds ahead, players, strategy. It's all coming. Everything should be done by Wednesday night. So keep eyes on them. Hit me up on X at Breakevens Pod and Facebook, the Breakevens, and use code 266136 to join the Breakeven Supercoach League. That is code 266136. Thank you all for watching all throughout this preseason. And I'll see you after round one. So until then, it's bye for now.